Money vs. Gold, the secret war that's determining the value of your money. Introduction. If one day you wake up, all the money in your bank account is still there, but you can only buy half the goods you could yesterday, would you still call yourself rich? I used to think the money in my wallet was my asset, until I read James Rickards' book, Money vs. Gold. And then I realized the scariest thing isn't losing money, but your money is still there, but its value is silently disappearing every day. This isn't a book about investing. This is the story of a centuries-long battle between paper and gold, between belief and true value, between what we see and what is actually driving the world economy. Chapter 1. When Money Was Gold. Let's turn back time. There was a time a banknote wasn't money. It was just a piece of paper. What gave it value was that you could take it to the bank, exchange it for real gold. Gold was the promise. It was trust. It was the limit that prevented governments from printing money indiscriminately. But then the world changed. War, crisis, spending grew, and nations began to realize if they were no longer limited by gold, they could create more money at any time. That was the beginning of a whole new game. Chapter 2. The Day the World Changed. 1971. A decision by the U.S. government changed the course of global finance. The dollar could no longer be directly exchanged for gold. From that moment on, money was no longer backed by gold, but was backed by trust. It sounds simple, but I wonder if the value of money is based solely on trust. What will happen when that trust wavers? That is the question James Rickards dedicates the entire book to answering. Chapter 3. The money printing machine never sleeps. After every crisis, the familiar solution usually emerges. Injecting more money, lowering interest rates, stimulating the economy. In the short term, that might help calm the market. But James Rickards poses a terrifying question. If you keep creating new money, what will become of the value of each old coin? It's like adding water to a cup of coffee. The cup is still full, but the coffee has lost its flavor. Inflation is the same. You don't lose money. You lose purchasing power. And many people don't realize that until the price of everything goes up. Chapter 4. Gold is not for getting rich. This is what surprised me the most. James Rickards didn't say that gold would make you rich. He argues that the greatest role of gold is to protect what you have built. Gold doesn't promise miraculous profit. It's like a life raft. You don't buy it to use it immediately. You buy it to prepare for when the storm comes. According to the author, during periods of political, financial, or monetary instability, gold can serve as an important store of value. Chapter 5. The Unseen War. This book made me realize every day it's not just businesses competing. Countries are competing too. They compete with currency, with interest rates, with gold reserves, with fiscal policy. Behind the seemingly dry news are silent battles. A central bank decision could make millions rich, or they become poor without even knowing it. Chapter 6. Don't put your trust in one basket. One of the biggest lessons I learned is don't let your entire fortune depend on a single type of asset. No one knows the future. No one can accurately predict every crisis. The wise thing is not to try to predict correctly, but to prepare. The survivor of the storm is not the strongest person, but the most prepared person. Chapter 7. The Most Important Asset. As I read the final pages, I realized this book isn't really about gold, nor is it just about money. It's about awareness. Because if you don't understand how money works, you'll spend your whole life chasing it. But if you understand the rules, you will know how to protect the fruits of your labor. That is true wealth. Conclusion, inspirational message. When I closed the book, I looked at my wallet. It was still the same, but the way I looked at money was completely different. I understood that money is not just numbers on a screen. Money is belief. It is purchasing power. It is freedom. And it is the result of a complex financial system operating every second. James Rickards didn't tell us to put all our assets in gold. He wanted us to understand that to protect our assets, first, we must understand the game. Because the loser isn't always the one who earns less money. It's often the one who doesn't understand the rules of the game of money. If today you only remember one thing from this book, remember this: don't just work to earn money. Learn to understand how money works, because when you understand the flow of money, you will no longer panic in the face of every crisis. You will see opportunities while others only see fear. And who knows, one day you might realize the most valuable investment you've ever made isn't buying gold, isn't buying stocks, but investing in knowledge, because gold can depreciate in value over time. Money can be eroded by inflation, but a mind that understands how the financial world works will always be an asset no one can take away. Please subscribe to the channel to listen to great books every day. Thank you.